The soft beep of the deep space communication array was easy to miss in the busy control room of the USS Vanguard. Most of the crew paid no attention to it, but Commander Allison Wright's trained ear caught the sound immediately. She had been listening to space signals for 15 years, and this one was different. "Computer, isolate that signal and enhance," she said, her fingers dancing across the glowing control panel. The other officers continued their work, used to Wright's attention to detail. She was known for chasing down anomalies that usually turned out to be nothing. The signal repeated. A pattern emerged. Not random space noise, not the familiar chatter of human ships, and not the known broadcasts of the few alien civilizations humans had contacted so far. This was something new. "Lieutenant Morgan," Wright called across the control room, "I need your ears on this." Peter Morgan was the ship's best xenolinguistics specialist. He had a gift for patterns and could speak 7 Earth languages fluently. More importantly, he had helped decode the first alien language humans had ever encountered. Morgan hurried over, his tall frame leaning down to listen to Wright's discovery. "That's not one of ours," he said after a moment. His eyes widened with interest. "And it's not Centauri or Procyon format either." Captain Greg Harrison noticed the growing excitement at Wright's station. He walked over from his command chair, his weathered face showing mild curiosity. "What have you found, Commander?" Harrison asked. In 20 years of space service, he had learned to trust Wright's instincts. "Sir, I believe we're picking up a distress signal," Wright said. "It's repeating in a mathematical sequence common to intelligent communication, but the language is unknown." Harrison nodded. "Can we pinpoint the source?" "Working on it, sir," Wright replied, her fingers never stopping their dance across the controls. "It's coming from Sector 47, near the edge of explored space." "Morgan, focus on decoding." "Right. Keep tracking the signal source," Harrison ordered. "If this is first contact with a new species, I want us ready." For the next 12 hours, the Vanguard's communication team worked non-stop. Morgan barely left his station, running the signal through every decoding algorithm in the ship's database. Wright mapped the signal's origin with growing precision, narrowing it down to a star system humans had never visited. When Morgan finally cracked the basic structure of the message, he called for an emergency meeting in the ship's conference room. Captain Harrison, Commander Wright, First Officer Maya Rodriguez, Chief Engineer Daniel Kelly, and Security Chief Frank Winters gathered around the table. Morgan stood at the front of the room, dark circles under his eyes from the hours of work. "The message is definitely a distress call," he explained. "I've managed to translate about 60% of it. A species calling themselves the Lumari are under attack by another race they call the Vex." He projected images decoded from the signal onto the room's main screen. The Lumari appeared to be slender, almost fragile beings with translucent skin that seemed to glow from within. In contrast, the few images of the Vex showed bulky, armored creatures with multiple limbs, ending in what looked like natural weapons. "The Lumari claim their worlds are being systematically destroyed," Morgan continued. "Based on the timestamps in their message, they've already lost 3 colony planets. Their home system is next." "But why contact us?" Rodriguez asked, brushing her dark hair away from her face. "We've never encountered either species before." Morgan's expression turned grim. "That's the most interesting part. They've heard of us. Or rather, they've heard rumors of a species from a Deathworld whose people are unusually resilient and have a strong sense of justice. They're specifically asking for Earth's help." A silence fell over the room as the implications sank. Inhumans had always known their planet was unusually harsh compared to many habitable worlds. High gravity, extreme weather patterns, dangerous wildlife, and radiation levels that would be considered dangerous on gentler planets. These conditions had shaped human evolution, making them stronger and more adaptable than many of the few alien species they had encountered. "Deathworld," Winters repeated with a slight smile. "First time I've heard Earth called that, but it fits." Captain Harrison stood up and paced the room slowly. "This is beyond our authority. We need to contact Earth Fleet Command immediately." Within hours, Admiral Caroline Bennett of Earth Fleet Command appeared on the ship's communication screen. Her gray hair was pulled back in a severe bun, her uniform impeccable despite the late hour on Earth. "Captain Harrison, your report is concerning," she said after hearing the details. "I'm dispatching Ambassador Richard Cole and a diplomatic team to your coordinates. Hold position and continue gathering intelligence. Do not approach the signal. Source until diplomats arrive." On Earth, the political response to the distress call was mixed. The Global Security Council debated for hours whether to intervene in what could be a complex interstellar conflict with unknown risks. President Natalie Walsh ultimately authorized a cautious response plan, allowing for both diplomatic contact and military preparedness. While politicians debated, the scientific community worked furiously to analyze the biological data included in the Lumari transmission. Dr. Olivia Grant, head of xenobiology at the Global Science Institute, made a breakthrough that changed the entire perspective on the situation. The Lumari evolved on a world with approximately 0.7 Earth gravity, she explained in her report to Fleet Command. Their atmosphere is thinner than ours, with higher oxygen content, almost no harmful radiation, and a narrow temperature range. In short, they come from an environmental paradise compared to Earth. This explained the physical differences visible in the transmitted images. The Lumari had evolved with little need for physical strength, dense bones, or protective skin. They were a species adapted to peace and abundance, not struggle. "And the Vex?" Admiral Bennett asked during the briefing. "Limited data suggests they evolved on a high-gravity world with a dense, toxic atmosphere," Dr. Grant replied. "In some ways, their world may be even harsher than Earth." As the USS Vanguard maintained position near the edge of explored space, Captain Harrison ordered regular probe launches to monitor the region without risking the ship. 3 days after detecting the signal, a probe detected movement. "Sir, we have an unidentified vessel approaching from the direction of the signal." "Source," reported Wright, her voice tense with excitement. "It's small, possibly a scout ship and moving erratically. It appears to be damaged." Harrison ordered the ship to battle stations as a precaution, but maintained a non-threatening posture. On the main view screen, they watched as a crystalline ship limped into visual range. Its beautiful geometric design was marred by what looked like burn marks and structural damage. "We're being hailed," Wright announced. "On screen," Harrison ordered. The image that appeared showed a being that matched the Lumari description: tall, slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer with inner light. The alien's large eyes widened at the sight of the humans. "This is Captain Greg Harrison of the Earth vessel USS Vanguard," Harrison said calmly. "We received your distress call. Do you require assistance?" The translator took a moment to process. Then the Lumari's musical voice came through. "Earth humans, the Deathworlders, you came." The relief in the alien's voice was unmistakable, even through the translation. "I am ship leader Dawn Melody of the Lumari Coalition. We seek your help against the coming darkness. The Vex pursuit vessels will be here soon." As if to confirm the alien's words, the ship's sensors blared an alert. 3 larger vessels had just appeared at the edge of sensor range, moving fast toward the Lumari scout ship. Harrison looked at his crew, determination in his eyes. "Looks like we're about to meet the Vex. Battle stations confirmed. Let's show them how Deathworlders respond to bullies." Captain Harrison's voice remained steady as he issued commands. "Shields at maximum. Position between the Lumari ship and the incoming vessels. Lieutenant Wright, open a channel to the approaching ships." The USS Vanguard moved gracefully into a protective stance. The damaged Lumari vessel looked small and fragile beside the human warship. "Channel open, sir," Wright reported. "Attention approaching vessels. This is Captain Greg Harrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. The ship you are pursuing is under our protection. State your intentions immediately." Only static answered. The 3 Vex ships continued their approach, their sleek, predatory designs reminding Harrison of sharks from Earth's oceans. "They're charging weapons, sir," Security Chief Winters warned. Harrison nodded. "Fire warning shots across their path. Show them our range, but don't hit them." The Vanguard's laser batteries fired, sending bright blue beams just meters from the Fleet Vex ship. The effect was immediate. The Vex vessels slowed, then came to a complete stop just outside standard weapons range. "They're scanning us, Captain," Wright said. "Very thorough scans." After a tense minute, the Vex ship suddenly changed course and jumped away into faster-than-light travel. "They retreated," First Officer Rodriguez said with surprise. "Just like that?" "Tactical retreat," Winters corrected. "They'll be back with reinforcements once they analyze our capabilities." Harrison turned to Wright. "Commander, prepare a boarding team. Let's meet our new friends properly." Commander Wright led the first contact team to the Lumari vessel. The team included Lieutenant Morgan for communication, Dr. Patel for medical assessment, and 2 security officers. They wore light environmental suits as a precaution. Docking with the damaged alien ship proved challenging. Its design was unlike anything humans had encountered before, with crystal-like structures that seemed to grow rather than being built. Finally, they established a secure connection between the airlocks. "Atmosphere reads as oxygen-rich but safe for us to breathe," Dr. Patel reported after scanning the air. "Gravity is approximately 70% of Earth normal." The team removed their helmets as the inner airlock opened. 3 Lumari waited for them. Up close, they were even more striking than in the images. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, they had slender bodies that seemed almost too delicate to support themselves. Their skin had a translucent quality that glowed with soft blue light from within. Large, expressive eyes dominated their faces. The Lumari in the center stepped forward with visible effort. Wright noticed immediately how the aliens struggled to move in what must have been higher gravity than they were used to, even at 70% of Earth normal. "I am ship leader Dawn Melody," the Lumari said through a translator device. "You are the Earth humans, the Deathworlders." There was no fear in the alien's voice, only wonder and hope. "Commander Allison Wright of the USS Vanguard," Wright replied with a small bow. "We're here to help." Dawn Melody seemed to sway slightly. "Forgive my weakness. Your gravity settings are challenging for us." Wright signaled the team. "Dr. Patel, can we adjust our artificial gravity to make them more comfortable?" Before Patel could respond, the ship lurched violently. One of the Lumari fell to the floor, unable to maintain balance. "Our ship suffers critical damage," Dawn Melody explained. "Main systems failing." Harrison's voice came through Wright's communicator. "Commander, their power core is destabilizing. Get them out of there." "Ship leader, we need to evacuate your crew to our vessel," Wright said urgently. "How many are aboard?" 12 crew members, some injured. Wright helped Dawn Melody while security assisted the other Lumari. "Lieutenant Morgan, help Dr. Patel find and evacuate the injured. Move quickly but carefully." The evacuation was completed just in time. As the last Lumari was brought aboard the Vanguard, the crystal ship's lights dimmed completely. Captain Harrison ordered the ship towed to a safe distance in case its power core exploded. In the Vanguard's medical bay, the humans got their first real chance to learn about the Lumari. Dr. Patel adjusted the local gravity to 50% Earth normal, which made the aliens visibly more comfortable. The medical scanners revealed bodies that seemed impossibly fragile by human standards: hollow bones, minimal muscle mass, and thin skin with no protective layers. Ambassador Richard Cole arrived on a fast diplomatic shuttle 18 hours later. The veteran diplomat had prepared by studying all available information about the Lumari. "Ship leader Dawn Melody," Cole greeted the Lumari leader in the ship's conference room. "I bring official greetings from Earth. We are deeply concerned about your situation and want to help." The full story emerged during the diplomatic discussions. The Lumari were part of a coalition of species who had evolved on similarly gentle worlds. For thousands of years, they had built a peaceful civilization spanning dozens of star systems. They had never developed significant weapons or defenses because they had never needed them. Until the Vex arrived. They came from beyond known space, Dawn Melody explained, projecting images onto the room's display. "At first, we welcomed them as we welcome all new species, but they had no interest in peaceful exchange." The images showed beautiful Lumari cities being systematically destroyed, crystal towers falling as Vex ships rained destruction from above. "They take our resources, strip our worlds bare, then move to the next target. Another Lumari named Whisper of Dusk added. As the Coalition's lead scientist, he had studied the Vex as much as possible. They consider us weak and unworthy of existence. How did you learn about Earth? Ambassador Cole asked. Dawn Melody's inner light seemed to pulse gently. Trade networks carry stories. We heard of a species from a harsh world who had achieved space travel, a species physically strong yet guided by principles of justice. Some called you Deathworlders with fear, but we saw hope. While the diplomatic talks continued, Chief Engineer Kelly led a team to study the damaged Lumari ship. What they found amazed them. Captain, their technology is incredible, Kelly reported to Harrison. Their ships are partially grown, not just built. The crystal structures can self-repair given time and resources, and their FTL drive design is completely different from ours, potentially more efficient. On Earth, President Walsh met with the Global Security Council to discuss the crisis. The room was divided between those who wanted to help the Lumari and those concerned about dragging humanity into an interstellar war. The Vex represent a clear threat, General Samuel Barnes argued. Today, they're attacking the Lumari. Tomorrow, it could be Earth. We can't become the galaxy's police force, countered another council member. We have our own problems to solve. President Walsh listened to all sides before speaking. We have always defined ourselves by how we treat those in need. I am authorizing the mobilization of the Fifth Fleet to assist the Lumari people. Back on the Vanguard, Security Chief Winters had begun training sessions with some of the healthier Lumari crew members. The differences in physical capabilities were striking. Winters could easily lift weights that 4 Lumari together struggled with. Even the simplest combat exercises left the aliens exhausted. You must understand, Whisper of Dusk said as he watched the training. Our worlds never required physical strength to survive. We devoted our evolution to other traits: intelligence, sensitivity, cooperation. Different paths, different strengths, Winters replied kindly. We'll handle the fighting. You show us what your kind of strength can do. Ambassador Cole received the authorization from Earth and shared the news with the Lumari leadership. A full battle group is being assembled. Earth stands with you. Dawn Melody's inner light glowed brightly with emotion. You risk your lives for people you barely know. Why? Cole smiled. Perhaps being from a death world taught us something important. Those who can fight should protect those who cannot. As the Vanguard prepared to rendezvous with the incoming Earth fleet, sensors detected multiple jump signatures. This time, it wasn't just 3 Vex ships. It was dozens. Captain Harrison called the crew to battle stations. Seems the Vex want to test these Deathworlders properly, he said grimly. Let's show them exactly what that means. The bridge of the USS Vanguard buzzed with controlled energy as the crew prepared for battle. Captain Harrison stood calmly at the center, watching as dozens of Vex ships appeared on the tactical display. Shields at maximum, weapons hot, he ordered. But hold fire until they make the first move. Let's see what they want. The Vex fleet spread out in an attack formation. Their ships were black and angular, looking like predatory creatures even in their design. For a tense minute, nothing happened. Then all Vex ships fired at once. Energy blasts hit the Vanguard's shields, making the ship shake. Lights flickered briefly throughout the vessel. Shields holding at 82%, reported Security Chief Winters. Their weapons are powerful, but not beyond our defenses. Harrison nodded. Return fire, target their lead ships, show them we aren't easy prey. The Vanguard's main cannons fired, sending bright beams cutting through space. 2 Vex ships exploded immediately. A third spun away, damaged. The rest of the Vex fleet paused, seemingly surprised by the effectiveness of human weapons. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Fleet, Commander Wright announced. The Fifth Fleet has arrived. Admiral Bennett is requesting coordination. On the main screen, Admiral Caroline Bennett appeared. Her gray hair pulled tight in a bun, her uniform crisp despite what must have been a rushed deployment. Captain Harrison, we've brought the cavalry, she said with a small smile. Fall back and regroup with the main fleet. The view behind Bennett showed the impressive sight of Earth's Fifth Fleet, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. 50 warships, ranging from small, fast attack vessels to the massive flagship USS Intrepid. It was the largest military force humanity had ever sent into space. The Vex ships immediately changed tactics, breaking their formation and retreating to a safer distance. "They're scanning our fleet, sir," Wright reported. "I think we just surprised them with our numbers." Harrison watched the tactical display with satisfaction. "Let's join the Admiral and plan our next move." Aboard the USS Intrepid, Admiral Bennett convened a war council. Captain Harrison, Commander Wright, and the other ship captains gathered, with the Lumari representatives to develop a strategy. "The Vex have already conquered 3 Lumari colony worlds," Admiral Bennett explained, pointing to a star map. "According to our intelligence, they plan to attack the Lumari homeworld next. We need to stop them before they get there." Ship leader Dawn Melody struggled to stand in the Earth-normal gravity of the meeting room, but refused offers of assistance. "Our homeworld has 20 billion people," the alien said. "If it falls, our species faces extinction." Lieutenant Kelly, who had been studying Lumari technology, spoke up. "Admiral, I believe we can adapt our shield technology to protect the remaining Lumari colonies. Their crystal-based tech can interface with our energy systems." "Make it happen, Lieutenant," Bennett ordered. "I want defense teams deployed to all remaining Lumari worlds immediately." The War Council continued for hours, developing a comprehensive strategy. When it concluded, Admiral Bennett addressed the combined human and Lumari forces through a fleet-wide broadcast. "Today we face an enemy that believes in taking whatever they want through force," she said, her voice firm. "They chose their targets because they thought the Lumari were weak. They're about to learn that the Lumari have friends, powerful friends, Deathworlder friends." The Earth fleet split into task forces, each with a specific mission. Captain Harrison and the Vanguard would lead the defense of the Lumari colony world Lumaris 4, the likely next target of the Vex invasion. As the Vanguard approached Lumaris 4, the crew got their first view of a Lumari world. Unlike the harsh landscapes of Earth, Lumaris 4 looked like a paradise. Gentle oceans of turquoise water surrounded land masses covered in purple and blue vegetation. Crystal cities sparkled in the light of the planet's sun. "It's beautiful," Wright whispered from her station. "And completely undefended," Winters added. "No wonder the Vex see them as easy targets." Harrison nodded. "Not anymore. Deploy the defense satellites. Lieutenant Kelly, coordinate with the Lumari engineers to establish the shield network." For 3 days, the humans worked tirelessly to fortify Lumaris 4. Kelly led teams to install shield generators in key locations across the planet. The Lumari watched in amazement as the humans labored in conditions they found difficult: higher gravity, fluctuating temperatures, longer work shifts without rest. "Your people are remarkable," Whisper of Dusk said to Kelly as they worked together on a shield generator. "What we find exhausting you consider normal." Kelly smiled as he easily lifted a component that would have required 4 Lumari to move. "Different worlds, different strengths. Earth forged us to endure." On the 4th day the Vex arrived. 30 ships entered the Lumaris 4 system, more than twice the number that had attacked the Vanguard before. But this time humans were ready. "All ships, battle formation Delta," Harrison ordered. The 12 Earth vessels under his command moved into position, creating a defensive screen around the planet. The Vex attacked without communication or warning, just as before. But their first volley of weapons fire hit the newly established shield network around the planet, dissipating harmlessly in flashes of light. "Shields holding," reported Winters. "The Lumari crystal tech actually improved our shield efficiency by 23%. Harrison allowed himself a small smile. "Return fire. Show them what Deathworlders can do." The battle for Lumaris 4 raged for hours. The Vex ships fought with a single-minded determination, but lacked the tactical flexibility of the human forces. Captain Harrison constantly changed formations and attack patterns, confusing the enemy commanders. Commander Wright led a ground team when several Vex ships broke through and landed forces on the planet's surface. The humans moved quickly through, the crystal forests engaging the enemy directly. The Vex ground troops were physically stronger than humans, large, armored creatures with natural weapons. But they hadn't expected organized resistance, and certainly not from soldiers who could match their strength. They fight like predators used to helpless prey, Wright observed, as her team outflanked a group of Vex soldiers. They don't adapt when the prey fights back. By the end of the day, the remaining Vex ships retreated. Lumaris 4 had held. It was the first defeat the Vex had suffered since they began their campaign against the Lumari. Similar victories were reported from other Lumari colonies where Earthships had deployed defenses. On each world, the story was the same. The Vex, accustomed to easy conquests, found themselves outmatched by human military tactics and technology. Back on Earth, news of the victories sparked public support for the war effort. Factory workers produced weapons and shields around the clock. Volunteer ships carried supplies to the front lines. What had begun as a humanitarian mission had become a point of pride for humanity. They were protecting a peaceful species from extinction. During the weeks that followed, Dr. Grant made a disturbing discovery while studying Vex biology from captured specimens. She requested an urgent meeting with Admiral Bennett and Ambassador Cole. The Vex aren't just taking resources, she explained, showing data on a screen. They're harvesting life energy from conquered species. That's why they target gentle world species like the Lumari. They're easier to capture alive. Ambassador Cole looked disturbed. You're saying they're feeding on them? In a way, yes, Dr. Grant confirmed. They absorb biological energy to enhance their own lifespans and abilities. It's not just conquest. It's parasitism on a planetary scale. Admiral Bennett's expression hardened. This changes things. We're no longer just defending allies. We're preventing a predator species from consuming sentient beings. She turned to the tactical display, where Captain Harrison and the USS Vanguard were highlighted leading a strike force deep into Vex territory. Send word to Captain Harrison, she ordered. Operation Spearhead is approved. It's time to take the fight to the Vex homeworld. The USS Vanguard led a fleet of 30 Earth warships through the darkness of space. Captain Harrison stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak by as they traveled faster than light. After 6 months of fighting, Operation Spearhead was underway, the final push to end the Vex threat once and for all. 10 minutes to target system, sir, Commander Wright reported from her station. Her uniform looked worn after months of combat, but her eyes were alert and determined. Harrison nodded. Signal the fleet battle formation on arrival. Weapons hot, but hold fire until my command. The Earth fleet had grown since the first encounter with the Vex. Now ships from other species fought alongside the humans. Lumari vessels with their crystal technology, and vessels from half a dozen other worlds that had suffered under Vex attacks. Sir, Admiral Bennett is hailing from the Intrepid, Wright said. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen. Despite the stress of leading a war, she looked confident. Captain Harrison, your task force will target the military bases on the moons. The main fleet will secure the space around the Vex homeworld. Remember our primary objective: containment, not extermination. Understood, Admiral, Harrison replied. Despite everything the Vex had done, Earth had decided not to destroy their species but to force them to live peacefully. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Vex home system. Intelligence gathered over months of fighting had revealed that the Vex evolved on a harsh volcanic world with crushing gravity and a toxic atmosphere, a world that made even Earth seem gentle by comparison. Multiple contacts, Security Chief, Winters announced. The Vex home fleet is mobilizing. Harrison leaned forward in his command chair. Show me. The tactical display lit up with hundreds of red dots representing Vex ships. It was the largest force they had faced yet. They're protecting their home, Harrison said quietly. Just as we would. The Vex fleet moved to intercept, but their tactics had changed. They no longer attacked recklessly. The Vex had learned from their defeats. They're forming defensive screens, Wright observed. They're adapting to our tactics. Harrison smiled grimly. But not fast enough. Execute attack pattern Echo. Target their command vessels. The Earth ships moved with practiced precision. breaking into smaller groups to confuse the Vex formations. Lieutenant Kelly had upgraded the Vanguard's weapons with Lumari crystal technology, making them more powerful than ever before. The space around the Vex homeworld erupted in light as the battle began. Earthships danced between enemy vessels, firing with deadly accuracy. The Vanguard led a direct assault on the largest Vex command ship. "Their shields are down," Winters reported after a concentrated attack. "Direct hit on their engine core." The massive Vex vessel exploded, sending debris spinning through space, but there were still hundreds more enemy ships. "Sir," Wright called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. The Vex leadership wants to communicate." Harrison raised an eyebrow in surprise. "This is new. Put it through." The screen showed a Vex leader for the first time. The alien was larger and more heavily armored than the soldiers they had fought. Its voice came through the translator as a deep growl. "Earth Commander, you have proved worthy adversaries," the Vex leader said. "We offer you a choice. Leave our system and we will not pursue your worlds. Stay, and we will destroy you all." Harrison's expression remained calm. "Your attacks on peaceful species end today. These are our terms. You will remain in your home, system under quarantine. Any ship attempting to leave will be destroyed. You will return all captured beings from all species immediately." The Vex leader made a sound that might have been laughter. "You are outnumbered. You cannot enforce such demands." "Admiral," Harrison said, turning to Bennett's image on a second screen, "I believe it's time for a demonstration." Bennett nodded. "Proceed, Captain." Harrison gave the order. "Target the military moon base with the planet cracker. Single shot, precise targeting." Earth had developed the planet cracker weapon decades ago but had never used it in actual combat. The massive energy beam fired from the USS Intrepid, cutting through space toward the largest moon of the Vex homeworld. When it hit, the beam didn't destroy the entire moon. Instead, it precisely obliterated the military installation on the surface, leaving a smoking crater visible even from orbit. The bridge fell silent as everyone watched the display. The Vex leader seemed stunned. "That was one weapon hitting one target," Harrison explained calmly. "We have 20 more just like it. We could reduce your entire civilization to ash. But unlike you, we don't destroy species. We're offering you life contained to your home system. Choose wisely." For long moments there was no response. Then the Vex fleet began to pull back, returning to defensive positions around their homeworld. "They're standing down," Wright reported, unable to hide her relief. The Vex leader's voice returned. "We'd accept your terms for now." The battle had ended not with the extinction of an enemy, but with the beginning of an uneasy peace. In the days that followed, the Earth fleet established a quarantine zone around the Vex system. Automated, defense platforms were positioned at every possible exit route, ensuring the predatory species remained contained. 3 months later, Commander Wright stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Earth Embassy on the Lumari homeworld. The crystal spires of the Lumari capital city stretched toward the sky, more beautiful than ever now that they no longer had to fear destruction. Admiral Bennett and Ambassador Cole stood beside her, watching ships from dozens of different species coming and going from the spaceport below. The Lumari had invited representatives from all neighboring star systems to discuss a formal alliance with Earth at its center. "I never thought I'd see this," Wright said, looking out at the peaceful scene. "When we received that first distress signal, I thought we were just going to rescue one species in trouble." Bennett smiled. "Instead, we found our place in the galaxy." Ambassador Cole nodded. "The coalition treaty will be signed tomorrow. Earth will provide military protection, and in return, we gain access to the combined knowledge and technology of over 20 species." "And the Vex?" Wright asked. "Still contained," Bennett replied. "Our monitoring stations show they're rebuilding their society. Without the ability to prey on others, they're having to learn new ways to survive. It may take generations, but perhaps someday they'll be ready to join the wider galactic community." Down in the city, Lieutenant Kelly was working with Lumari engineers to create a new generation of ships. The crystal technology of the Lumari combined with human industrial methods had produced vessels faster and more efficient than either species could have built alone. The new habitat ring will accommodate all member species, a Lumari engineer explained, showing Kelly the plans. Each section will recreate the gravity and atmosphere of different homeworlds. Kelly nodded appreciatively. So a human can walk down one corridor and enter a Lumari environment, or continue to another section designed for another species entirely. Exactly. Unity through understanding our differences. In the medical center nearby, Dr. Grant had established the interspecies medical exchange. Doctors from Earth worked alongside healers from the Lumari and other coalition members, sharing knowledge that had evolved on different worlds. The Lumari regenerative techniques are remarkable, Dr. Grant told a group of Earth doctors. They can regrow limbs naturally. Combined with our more robust immune systems, we're developing treatments that would have been impossible for either species alone. Back on Earth, President Walsh addressed the United Nations. The speech was being broadcast to every coalition world. 6 months ago, we answered a call for help from a species we had never met, she said. We did so because we recognized a fundamental truth, that the strong have a responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Today, we have not only gained new allies but found a new purpose among the stars. Earth is no longer just our home. It is the foundation of a new galactic peace. As the sun set on the Lumari capital, Commander Wright found ship leader Dawn Melody in the embassy gardens. Your people have changed the galaxy, the Lumari said softly. What some feared as Deathworlders became the guardians of life. Wright smiled as ships continued to arrive from distant stars, each bringing representatives to join the growing coalition. I guess that's the thing about coming from a harsh world, she replied. It teaches you that survival isn't just about being strong enough to live. It's about being strong enough to help others live too. Above them, the first stars appeared in the darkening sky, not points of lonely light anymore, but connections to new friends and allies across the vastness of space, all because an alien SOS had reached the right kind of Deathworlders.